Can't believe I'm saying this, but bring back Joey Crawford and all his exciting, entertaining foul calls in the NBA. The refs in the NBA didn't blow it. I stick to my guns here, everybody. Like I said multiple times, I will never solely blame the refs. But twice in one series, it's becoming a problem. So we obviously saw the missed 5 calls was the official report in Game 2 of the Thunder vs. Spurs series. And in Game 5, I don't know how the refs missed this one, and I don't know how much it would have changed the outcome of the game, but Russell Westbrook gets the inbound pass. You know, Ginobili's on Waiters. Waiters inbounds the ball. He's looking for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant can't get free. Finds Westbrook pretty much right on the baseline there. Kawhi fouls him. Kawhi intentionally fouls him like most teams would do when they're in that situation with less than the shot clock remaining, with Pop screaming in his ear saying he's going to foul him, with Kawhi intentionally fouling him, but they don't call it. They don't call it. Westbrook, very athletically, gets to the rim, bounces off LaMarcus Aldridge like a pinball, and puts it in the hoop. He gets the and one, he gets the shot, makes it a 4-point game. I don't know, again, with just putting Westbrook on the line, it could make it a 3-point game, which is still one possession. I don't think it changes too much because they missed 2 threes in the following possession anyway.
Yeah.
But how do you miss that call? It's just confusing because obviously it's coming. The refs obviously know how this game works.
Yeah, I feel like the referees are, they're definitely deer caught in headlights. They don't want to make these calls. Like that, obviously the final play where all hell broke loose, as we talked about a couple of games back, it was disastrous that they didn't at least call one of those, especially the Dion Waiters, Ginobili obvious call, right? But in this situation, they have to have the courage to make that call. They have to, if they're going to be in that situation, they have to be sure that they're going to at least make the call or stand by it nonetheless. The one thing I did want to talk about, though, not just on the call, is like all the bullshit I talked about how you want to have Kevin Durant take that final shot. I just really want to reword it and just state that I do want Kevin Durant to take that shot. Or if Russell Westbrook plans on taking the shot, always drive to the rim. Just never, ever shoot. Because and specifically in this game, the chances of Russell Westbrook driving to the rim and converting were like 99%. The kid is so athletic. He had a bit between his teeth. He was so aggressive. And I told myself when I was watching that, I was like, all right, all that crap I talked about, how there's no one else I'd rather have the ball than Kevin Durant in that final shot, it's just so plain and simple. Russell Westbrook, the Spurs can't handle him when he's driving at that pace. And even when you put a big man like LaMarcus up, you're going to give yourself a good chance of getting an and one. And despite the fact that Kawhi fouled him, I thought that Russell Westbrook showed great maturity and great athleticism and just great technique to get there. So I will firmly eat my words that if it happens to be Russell Westbrook with the ball in his hands with seconds to go, just drive to the rim. Just make it easier on yourself. If you've got the time, just drive to the rim.
I think it's the fact that Westbrook can get to the rim faster than if he pulled up and took a shot.
Yeah,
exactly. Then the ball would get to the rim in that speed. Dan made a good point, repeat, saying like, why call the foul on Aldridge in the first, like after no call from the ref on Kawhi Leonard, why make the call on LaMarcus Aldridge?
Again, it might be the fact that they're just trying to make up for it, like we've seen them do, is like they won't call one obvious foul, but they're just trying to make up for it.
So I agree with that, but only in the way that like when a guy gets like his head swatted and they don't call it on the other end of the court if there's like a charging foul or maybe it's like a sold blocking, like they'll call that to get the possession back. But in that case, it was an and one.
Yeah.
Bob, safe to say you're pretty stunned that Jason doesn't call that when Kawhi tries to foul Russ.
He fouled him.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious he fouled him. But, every call doesn't get called. That's the way the game is. I was more concerned about the play before that with Durant's shot. But as I said, sometimes you get a call, sometimes you don't. It happens to everybody. Tough game.
And just to add also, Kawhi Leonard, I definitely fouled him, but the referee, I guess he didn't see it. You just got to keep playing through it. A full sentence from Kawhi Leonard. More than we've ever heard from Kawhi Leonard in the history of basketball.
I never knew he was talking that much.
As for the game itself, I was rewatching it, the 30-minute condensed version, right before we came on the show. I don't know how the Spurs lost this game. They held a double-digit lead for most of it. Danny Green was terrific from the three-point line. LaMarcus Aldridge kind of came down to earth with his shooting percentage, but still looked all right. Enes Kanter still can't play defense. And Kawhi Leonard was like, shooting 11 of 19 up until like the fourth quarter. How do you lose? Like, it's just amazing to me. And then as you watch through the fourth quarter, you see like, well, Westbrook got hot from three. And that's been the theme of this entire NBA season. Get hot from three, you're not going to lose basketball games. Westbrook getting hot from three is a scary thing because he's like a 29% three-point shooter. It's not what he actually is, but through the playoffs, he was shooting pretty bad from three-point range. Not DeMar DeRozan bad, though. And he somehow was hitting Steph Curry range threes on the pull-ups. And, of course, as you mentioned, finishing at the rim unbelievably. On his way to 35 points, 9 assists, 11 rebounds. He did commit 8 turnovers, which was a big problem for the Thunder in the first half.
Awesome.
But now the Thunder can win this series.
You know, I criticized Popovich before when they lost their first game at home against OKC and the way he responded to the media. And I got to give him credit in this example is that he could easily go to the calls. Like we've seen coaches in most sports heap so much criticism on the referees and blame most of it on the referees. But Popovich, specifically when he was being a little bit harsh in his comments in the first conference, he always alludes to the fact that his team are at fault first and foremost. There's many things that they could do to adjust. And that I got to give so much credit for him in terms of the way he handles the media. And in this example, he states the same again, is that his team weren't efficient enough closing out the game. And this is something that I see OKC utilizing to their advantage. They might not start as quick as the Spurs, but the way that this basketball game works, fourth quarters, it epitomizes the season as a whole. It's not exactly how you start. It's about how you start to find the mold and start to adjust mid-game in order to get what you need to out of the series. And I think that OKC, they don't necessarily go to those distance shots like you see Russell Westbrook pull up towards the end of the game and get hot from three. But that wasn't how they started. They started with their usual game plan, trying to attack the rim, trying to be aggressive. And that's what I give credit for OKC, is they're able to adjust mid-game. I think the Spurs found what worked early on, but weren't able to adjust when it came to the closing stages.
Yeah, and which is so surprising because, again, this is a series of execution versus athleticism. And that it flipped. The Thunder executed. The Spurs didn't, which is amazing to me. All right, so Game 6 is Thursday. It could be, again, depending on how the series turns out, if the Spurs come back and win the series, it could be Kevin Durant's last game in Oklahoma City, so I'm sure the fans will be, as the kids put it these days, lit.
You are a kid.
Comment below with what you think about the Oklahoma City Thunder versus San Antonio Spurs series and the refs. Do you blame them? We always have these conversations. Russ Westbrook, Kevin Durant, all that good stuff. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Follow us on all those great things. You can see them in the comment section or description below.